Duncan says, if you want to know about business, health, and places to go, welcome to the show. Yeah, welcome to the show. If you know that you want to grow your business, your practice, and portfolio, welcome to the show. Yeah, welcome to the show.
Hello, and welcome to I'm Simply Saying, the healthcast where the spine meets strategy, alternative healthcare takes center stage, and we discuss how to build thriving medical clinics. I'm your host, Dr. Mary Frances Duncan, founder and CEO of Simply Southern Chiropractic Center in South Carolina. I'm a chiropractor by trade in an entrepreneur's body. I'm excited to guide you through this journey at the crossroads of chiropractic care, integrative medicine, and the art of successful clinic management. Lastly, if you take anything away from this episode today, please leave this podcast a 5-star review. Reviews allow us to hear from our listeners and what interests you. So, without further ado, let's get into the backbone of it all. Welcome to I'm Simply Saying.
Hello and welcome to I'm Simply Saying. My name is Kelsey and I am our host, Dr. Duncan's executive assistant. Before we get into our topic today, I just want to plug all the other ways that you can stay in the loop with Dr. Duncan and her practice. First, if you haven't already, check out Dr. Duncan's website, milliondollarchiro.co, where you can access all of our previous podcasts, you can check out our online courses, and you can have the opportunity to have one-on-one coaching with Dr. Duncan. Additionally, you can stay in the loop by checking out Dr. Duncan's social media at Million Dollar Chiro. You can listen to I'm Simply Saying on all popular streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Ultimately, wherever you listen, if you like what you're hearing, please subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. Reviews help us know how we can best reach our community. We like to make viewing our podcast for other chiropractors and practice managers as easy as possible. So please note that all red thumbnails are more practice focused. If you are interested in the patient care side of things, that's going to be more of the yellow thumbnails. And then our guest speakers will be in the blue thumbnails to just kind of give you a bit of a guide. So this is the most effective way that we can keep all of our guests and our viewers interested in what they're interested in and wanting more from us. So without further ado, let's get started. Dr. Duncan, what are we talking about today?
Welcome back to part 2 of our podcast about chiropractic associations. We have with us our special guest, Dr. Iva Hughes, and we are so thankful that she's joined us today. She's the past president of the South Carolina Chiropractic Association. So, Dr. Hughes, for our listeners this week, will you tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into the thick of things?
Sure. I am Dr. Iva Hughes. I practice in Rock Hill and Chester, South Carolina. I've been in practice for 18 years. And I stopped to think for a minute. But I've been a member of the City Association for 19 years. I actually joined as a student. I've been past president, and I currently sit on the South Carolina Chiropractic Board of Examiners.
All right, well, let's get started. So tell us, what are some key benefits of joining a chiropractic association? So why should chiropractors join?
One of the things I think the most important thing is the association is there to protect our right to practice. And if you have just a few people joining and everyone else figures, they'll pay for it, it's not a big deal, you don't have that big voice. The more members you have, the bigger footprint you have and the bigger voice you have, and it looks more impressive. If you have an association that has 10 members, but you've got 1,000 actual professionals, that doesn't look good. The more we have, the stronger we are. That's one reason why you should. The other reason is you're getting into what I like to call your bubble. Everyone at your school, you have your chiropractic bubble with friends. Well, here at the state association, you get that bubble back. You get to be around like-minded people. You can practice any different way you want. The main thing that the association is going to do is protect your right to practice, but it also brings you together. We have great conventions, we have great seminars, we have golf tournaments, we have shuck and shoots. And we all get together and we socialize. It's not all, boring classes. I don't do boring classes. We have good classes. We have great speakers, but it gets you together. And you also have the benefit of you get to find out what legislation is coming down the pipe before it gets to the point that it's going to affect us, because that association has got so many people reading thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of pages of legislation to make sure there's nothing in there that's going to affect us in the long run. And they let you know this is coming down the pipe. You need to call your representatives. And it's just a great tool. They have coding specialists. They have an insurance committee. They have a fantastic attorney. I always say Annie's the best attorney in the entire world. But if you have legal questions you really don't have an answer to, and maybe you don't have an attorney on your payroll, you can say, I have this weird question, and she'll find an answer. She's wonderful. So they're always there to help you and protect you.
I think there's power in numbers. So the more people that are part of an association, the more good we can do for chiropractors in this state. So, all right, next question. How does being a part of a chiropractic association contribute to professional development? How can our association help practitioners with their continuing education hours?
So we have a wonderful convention every summer. I say that because I am the chairperson for conventions and seminars, but it is awesome. We do a minimum of 30 credit hours available at each seminar, each convention in the summer. And we always do a last chance seminar because our renewal years are September 30th. That's your deadline every even year. So we always make sure we've got enough offered. We have some that you can do online, but we have wonderful speakers. And it ranges from nutrition to the one thing we don't do practice management. We don't do any of that stuff because it's your right to figure out how you want to practice. But we have speakers that we do a little bit of philosophy. We do technique. We do neural. We try to get some pediatrics. We get some geriatrics. So we don't have the same speakers every year. We try to rotate everybody and we pick different topics every year. Plus, you get exposed to a lot of different vendors. We have Health Network Solutions is one of the insurance conglomerates that we partner with. If you're a member with them, they pay your convention fees, which is amazing. But we've got Chiro Health USA's there. We have Full Script. We have table companies. We have supplement companies. You get to meet these people. You can try their products first, see if that's something you want to have in your office. And you can troubleshoot with them as well. So, and we usually try to do everything at the Kingston Plantation, which is a beautiful resort. It's so family friendly. They've got great water parks for the kids. It's right on the ocean. So the venue's beautiful. The speakers are fantastic. And we always make sure to at least have 30 in-seat hours. A lot of people are dual license. They'll do a lot in North Carolina and South Carolina because we're so close together. And you have to have 36 every 2 years in South Carolina. I believe it's every third. I think it's 36 every year in North Carolina. So we try to help people out as best we can.
Well, I love going to the convention every year in Myrtle Beach. So, Dr. Hughes, will you tell us, are these classes included in the cost of a membership, or are they discounted for South Carolina Chiropractic Association members?
It's not included in your yearly membership fees, but we do give you very big discounts, especially the earlier you sign up, the better the discount. And it's on the convention. It's on any freestanding seminars that we host. You do get that discount. There is a membership level at the state association. It's called the Palmetto membership. If you pay that, your conventions and your seminars, if we are hosting, they are free, which is a great benefit. Like I'll tell you right now, I'm a Palmetto member because we go to this is where we get all our CEs. So it's the best thing for us. And then also HNS, the Health Network Solutions. If you are a member of Health Network Solutions, they cover your convention fee. So long as you go to, I think it's a certain hours. I want to say it's like you have to go to 8 hours of their classes, but they know you're doing the right continuing education and they sponsor a lot of our speakers as well. They're wonderful partners.
Well, for our South Carolina listeners, I'll tell you for the cost of joining the association for the whole year, that is the same cost that I've paid to go to a weekend seminar for something that I wanted to learn about. So I really do feel like you get a lot of value in South Carolina with our state membership, and then we get a discount if we want to get over 30 hours worth of continuing education in Myrtle Beach in June. So I think our association offers a whole lot to our members. All right. So how does membership in a chiropractic association help practitioners stay updated with the latest industry trends and advancements? So legislation, how does our association keep us up to date with current legislation?
So we have a lot of people. We've got some of the best lobbyists in the entire state house. I love our lobbyists, but they go through every piece of law that comes through, every piece of legislation. They're going to look through it with a fine tooth comb to make sure there's nothing that's going to affect our right to practice in the state of South Carolina as written by the guidelines. So they have all these people that go through all the legislation for us, so we don't have to do it. If there is anything that's concerning, the first thing to do is they shoot you an email to all the members. Hey, this article, this line, they give you exactly where it's at in the bill, and they'll tell you this is coming up. This is going to affect you, or this is not going to affect you. So some of the wording, it looks like it might affect us. There was I think last year it was the massage therapist. They were going to start doing, you had to have a license for the building and you had to be inspected, but it wasn't for chiropractors because we're already inspected, we're already licensed. So, but when people saw that, a lot of people kind of flipped out a little bit. They're like, oh my God, I have to start doing this. They're like, no. This is where it's at. This is how it's stated. It does not affect you. So they kind of help you keep you calm, keep you from freaking out over different things. But then they also will get you fired up and go, you've got to call your representative. They're trying to push this down the line. They also have what's called the back cover. And that is it's a newsletter, and it'll give you all the highlights. This is what happened in legislation. And we get it whenever there's legislation passed. We always get a separate email, but they always put it also on the back cover. It tells you about upcoming events, whether it's the convention, last minute seminars, who the speakers are, lets you know when your early bird registration is running out. Talks about, we have a legislative golf tournament every year. It's the third weekend in April. It's amazing. But they raise that money so that if we need to lobby for something, we've got the funds to do it. And that money is not used to fund the tournament. We raise all of our money separately and get all the prizes separately, but it's just a way to support our legislation.
I think that's very important, getting those emails and just being informed of what is going on in the state house and just information on our rights as chiropractors. I mean, where else are you going to get that information? Because I'm not sure where you would if you were not a part of our association. So what ways do you think chiropractic associations foster networking and collaboration amongst chiropractors? How do you feel like our association helps chiropractors team up together and actually talk to each other? Because I feel like sometimes in our profession, we are on these little islands and we don't talk to each other and we see each other as competitors. But can being part of an association help bring us together?
It really can. A lot of the times you do, especially when you're first starting, you do kind of feel like you're your own little island and you don't want to talk to anybody. You don't want anyone to know you're struggling. But the thing is, we've all been there. We all started. No one starts out with $1 million practice. You have to work up to it. And how you figure out what's going to work for you. Being in the state association, they put you in classes together. Number one, you're going to sit next to people you don't know. You can pick each other's brains and, get some relationships there. The convention also, we do some social events as well, just to get people talking. That makes a big difference. And I'm very, we have what we call lunch with the vendors. I just stopped and think about it. Lunch with the vendors. And you'll see people like there's just so many tables, so everybody has to get together. And then you end up talking to each other. Well, where do you do? Where do you practice? What do you do? Well, have you ever had trouble with this? And the next thing you know, you've got this great conversation going of people that you never would have talked to before if you were just sitting in class. So we make sure we have some areas where we can bring people together. One thing too, I don't know if a lot of people don't realize this too. Our board meetings, the state association board meetings, they're open to the public. So if you ever wonder, what do they do up there? What are they talking about up there? You are 100% allowed to join on. You can't really say anything. It's more like you're like a fly on a wall, but you can at least hear what we're doing and understand the process. A lot of people don't understand the process. And a lot of people think, well, why do I give you money? Because what are you going to do? Just blow it on like a weekend? You guys go to your board retreat? Well, no, I've been on several board retreats and it came out of my bank account. So it's 100%. They don't pay for that. We spend our money so we can get together to plan for you to make everything better. And even on those retreats, and we do district meetings too. That's the other thing. If you are a chiropractor, you are in a district. Go to the district meetings. That's where a lot of people talk too. Sometimes they'll do CEs so you can get maybe rules and regs while you're there, which is when you have to have every year. But that's another way to meet some people in your area. And you have to stop looking at everybody as a competition. We are in the same family. When I first started 19 years ago, they were still talking about how chiropractors ate their young. Like they would not welcome, if you were a new chiropractor, get out of my town. I don't want you in here. And it's changing because now we're saying like, we need to be here. We need more help. I can only see so many patients.
Right.
You can only see so many patients. So having good people and having a good network. And if you're in the state association, you're already starting to know each other. You're already like-minded. You want to protect your right to practice, and you have to protect everybody's right. It's not just your right. It's every chiropractor in the area. So it is.
I feel like there's room for all of us. There's room for lots of chiropractors. And as a whole, our profession is not that big. So the more chiropractors that we have, the more people we can help in our communities, the more people we can keep off of unnecessary medications and prevent them from having unnecessary surgeries. And we can't do that if we don't have numbers. And so I think it's very important, like you said, to talk to other chiropractors, because I didn't for a long time. I've been in practice almost 10 years. Probably for the first 7 years, I didn't talk to other chiropractors. And I think there's so much that we can learn from each other. And a great way to meet other chiropractors that are outside of your town is through a state association. So I think that is a major benefit of joining an association and meeting people that you can call up when you have questions. And we're all going to have times where, we're going to be in a pickle and we need advice and we need help. And these are people that can help you.
100%.
So tell me, in your opinion, how does being part of a chiropractic association contribute to credibility and trustworthiness in your patient's eyes? Do you think that matters to your patients?
I think it does. One of the reasons I think it does in our office is I tell them, if you're going to go outside of us, if you have to go to North Carolina, if they're not a member of their state association, do not go to them, because the state association makes sure that you're practicing within. You have the right to practice, but they also let you know if there's something a little fishy. You know what I mean? Like there might be something that's a little off, especially like during COVID, like we didn't know if we were going to do masks. Do you have to do rubber gloves? Do you have to wipe the tables down? Like they gave us guidelines, and they wouldn't have had those guidelines if they hadn't been a member of the association. So I'm very much I love my association. I love all the associations. And I tell my patients all the time, it's important that we're a member, because it shows that we care. It shows that we want to do the right thing and we want to be responsible and we want to take that accountability to the next level. And I think it does show a lot to our patients.
I agree. I think that I feel like my patients find that important, that I'm involved with helping other chiropractors in our state, and we're getting information directly about legislation from our lobbyists. Our patients that care about that, I do think they find that very important. So anything else before we conclude this podcast that you would like to mention before we finish?
If you have any questions about joining the association, just reach out to them. They are the nicest people, and you don't know what you're missing until you get in it. And once you're in it, I go back to my bubble all the time, but An example of what we did, we had when the 100-year flood happened in Columbia, we had a doctor who lost everything. I mean, he lost all of his notes, all of his computers, his tables, his practice was literally 12 feet underwater. And that happened during my husband's presidency. And the first thing Annie did was she called, Annie's our attorney, and she's one of the lobbyists. She called Brian and she's like, buddy, we got a bad problem. This guy lost everything. The first thing we did was start raising money. And we had doctors from all over the state that are members donate equipment, donate computers, donate of space. And he would have lost his entire practice, his entire livelihood. He had a family. So that's where that community comes in. We don't just kind of sit back and see, oh man, that's too bad for you. More patience for me. First thing everybody did was we all banded together and we lifted him up out of those waters. And if we hadn't done that, he'd have lost everything. He'd have went bankrupt. He had just opened that practice.
Wow.
And just bought everything was brand new. I mean, he lost it all. And because the association got together and we all banded together and helped him, he's still in practice. He's killing it, which is great.
That story makes me sick to my stomach. So it's, very comforting to know that our association was there to help him. And so I encourage anyone that's listening to join your state association, especially if you're listening in South Carolina, but even in other states, join a state association. I think, in my opinion, I think that that's even more important than a national association. I think national associations for chiropractic are great too, but your state associations, they're going to help you on a local level, and they need your monetary support, and they also need your time if you can give that in support as well.
Thank you so much for listening. We are so thankful that you checked out I'm Simply Saying. We love empowering our listeners with the knowledge of chiropractic care and entrepreneurship. If you're curious about ways to stay in the loop about Dr. Duncan and her practice, feel free to check out her website, milliondollarchiro.co, and you can also check out her social media at milliondollarchiro. You can listen to I'm Simply Saying on all popular streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. Like I said in the beginning, ultimately, wherever you listen, if you like what you're hearing, please subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, let us know what you'd like to hear and why. Reviews are helping us to know how we can best speak to our community, and they're always a good boost of encouragement as well. So again, we just want to thank you, and thanks for checking out this episode today. Bye-bye.